Do you read me?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me?
Pacho, this is Com Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower, Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. I say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! Hurrah! Get some. What's going on, peeps? Another week almost done, and here we are back on our show. So welcome back if you're a long-time listener. We really appreciate it. And for those of you who are new, hey, thanks for joining us. Before we get started, just like I've always liked to mention, this show is all about, Second Amendment. So freedom of speech, that's what I fought for while I was in the Marine Corps. So if you like what you hear, then stick around. If you don't, then hey, swipe left, go somewhere else. But hey, don't forget at the end of the show or during the show to like and subscribe. Tell everybody about our show, and pump it out there, man. Because I think this is a good show, and we do a lot of good stuff over here. So hey, I just want to give a quick shout out to Mr. Doug Stidham, or Stid, as he likes to call himself out in social media land. Hey, brother, I got my pin up for bets deck of card autographed by you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And with that being said, everybody, today we are going to be talking to the Seven of Spades. Here she is. On the deck of cards, Bliven Marie Roman, or Bliv as she likes to be called. So let's welcome her and bring her onto the show. How you doing, Miss?
I am so great. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding. Just another show here, and here in the field op, getting ready to talk some really cool stuff with you, and
yeah, I'm so excited. Thanks for having me.
No, we're looking really forward to it. Doug was like, "Hey, dude, he was just, hey, you really got to talk to." So everybody, he's pretty much recommended.
Yeah, I'm his number one fan, as we like to call it. He has been so great to me during my shoot. We shot pinups, and he was just fantastic. And my dad's a 30-year Marine Corps vet. Today's actually his second retirement from his civilian job, so that's exciting. But it was just really cool to work with the Marine, and of course he had jokes because I'm Army. But it was a lot of fun. He's great. He's a great dude.
No, that's great. By the way, tell your dad that one, Semper Fi, and two, thanks for his service. I'm sure.
Oh, thanks.
I'm sure he doesn't get that enough. So
no, he doesn't.
Well, tell him to tune in. I mean, we got some good gouge to pass on over here.
Oh my gosh, he's probably already knocked out or eaten his crayons.
Oh shit, we're starting right off.
That's where we're at.
Oh man. All right, this is gonna be a good show. By the way, the green ones are better. I'm just saying.
Oh,
kind of minty. So tell us about your military career. So you were in the Army, like you said. Sorry, but that's okay. We won't hate you for it.
It's okay. Well, I mean, better than Air Force, really. So I actually, my dad is the one who helped me join the military, and I've always wanted to do healthcare. You can't do that in the Marine Corps, but my dad's a Marine. I wanted to do it, and he said, "Hey, try to do corpsman, right?" The Navy couldn't get back to me fast enough. Army was like, "Hey, let's do this." So I enlisted the same day I walked in there. 6 months later, went to Fort Sill, became a combat medic, which was just absolutely incredible. I deployed in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. I was in Camp DJ, Djibouti, Africa, which was really cool. My dad was there 6 years prior, so it was just full circle moment for me.
Wow,
got out 5 years later. Yeah, it was really awesome to take pictures just like my dad did. But I got out 5 years later, and I continue to serve. I serve our veterans by raising awareness to military mental health. I'm a huge mental health advocate. I've had my own mental health journey, much like many veterans have. I just have this story, and I want to share it so our vets can learn from my mistakes, and they can also know they're not alone in their fight. And there's so many resources out there.
Right. No, I think we all have a story to tell, especially
Hmm.
us service members. Um, whether it's prior to military service, during our time in whatever branch we were in, and even sometimes even post. A lot of us, we just go through the grinder. I mean, are there those
Yes.
folks that don't have, that did great, transition great, no issues? Yeah, of
Hmm.
course. But I think all of us have some type of story to tell,
Oh, for
and
sure.
yeah, and talking about it is important because I mean, having to be in a lot of therapy, you know, that's by telling that story, we learn to cope with it better.
Yes, absolutely. And I find it therapeutic to talk about my story. Um, but also, when I was in, not many people spoke about their own struggle. And
Yeah,
for me, that's kind of how I got through. The hardest part of my journey is knowing that I wasn't alone and being in things like group therapy, where I can hear other people's stories and think, wow, like I'm not the only one who goes through this. Like, I'm not crazy, is I think the first thing I said when someone else had the same experience. So I know talking about my story will change lives. And I know for sure people have reached out and thanked me. And that is just the best feeling in the world, for someone to recognize what you've gone through and say, hey, I resonate with this. It makes me feel like I'm really doing something.
so so I guess to kind of, it's a good segue that you bring this stuff up. So you mentioned that you had you hit your rough patches in life, but
Yeah.
and not just life, but what now did this start? And while you were in the service, that was
Yes,
something that led up to it. Can you tell us a little bit about it, or as much as you
absolutely.
want to share with us?
Oh, I'm an open book. I love to share because it's people don't talk about it enough. And the only way to change the world of mental health is to talk about it, even if it's
Right,
hard.
I agree.
Um, yeah. So my journey started, I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety right before my deployment to GJ. And during that deployment, I think I was 21. I started a very serious relationship. It's my first time away from my family. So, what people don't realize is that is an adjustment in itself, just not being with the people that you're comfortable with. And that's when it really started. My depression worsened. I wasn't receiving the medication that I needed because it was just a burden to have to like refill those prescriptions on deployment. So I really did the wrong thing and I wasn't maintaining my medication. And I struggled with suicide when I was deployed. Something I never spoke about because it was very hush
Right.
hush. It was really frowned upon to go to behavioral health. And I always say, this is just my experience. This may not be the experience for other veterans while they were in, but it was really hard for me to get the treatment that I needed. Um, and with that said, I only talked to my family about it. And it wasn't really serious. I wasn't saying, hey, I'm struggling with suicide. I was more like, I'm having a really hard time, but they didn't understand. Got back from deployment, things got a little better. It was in 2015 where I hit my lowest point. And that's where I had my serious suicide attempt, which changed not only my life, but the life of my husband. And my daughter, I just had a daughter at that time.
Oh
And
wow. Yeah.
that adjustment and knowing that I was going to have to go back to work in 6 weeks um, and serve. And then getting that news that I was going to have to deploy 6 months after, it really rocked my world. And I struggled with that. And I told my NCO at the time, was like, hey, I'm just going to go to mental health and be seen. But little did she know I had attempted and failed at it. And I just needed to go, like, time now and change my life.
Did you have a plan and everything? I had a plan, and we
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
we could talk about. Yeah.
No, yeah, I did have a plan. I made the full attempt I attempted to hang myself and it didn't work, which thank God it didn't work because I
Right.
wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be as accomplished as I am today. But unfortunately, a lot of our veterans and our military service members struggle with that, as you and I know. Um, it really wasn't until maybe 3 years ago when I got out and I was settled, where I started actually losing really good friends. And that
Wow.
was kind of my turning point. And it really hurt because they know I'm an advocate. And it was one of those moments where I'm like, should I be checking on every single person every day? But that's not, you can't do that every single day. But that was like one of those moments where I was like, I could have done something, but you can't fix every problem.
Right. And you bring up a good point. I do the show. Yeah, sometimes it's light. Well, most of the time it's very lighthearted. We'll
Yeah.
talk trash and whatever. Um, or even before, I started as enlisted, then became an officer
Hmm.
along the way, and we put ourselves, and even a good leader, whether doesn't matter the rank that you are, always
Hmm.
we put ourselves last, and we put everybody else before us.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
and then you're like always like like, man, you got your shit together, but inside it's like you're ripping at the seams. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you have this mask. I always you're very young, but there was this painter, I forgot the name, but he was known to be he had this clown, this in 60s and 70s. But there's this one particular photo that it just always resonated with me, where he's painting him. It's a mirror. He's doing a self-portrait. It's a portrait,
Hmm.
and the portrait is him smiling, but the face that he's making in the mirror, it's sad.
Oh
You know.
yeah. Hmm.
And there's one I know. I've seen one on Facebook where it's a
Yeah.
service member, and the face is smiling, but they're crying. There's many like that,
Yes.
but and it's tough, and to talk about it. Even when I first came in, I mean, I came in the early '90s, and
Hmm.
no, you did not talk about that shit. I mean,
Absolutely. It's
you're
almost
going to
like
say
a
the wizard,
sin.
yeah. Oh
It's like a
fuck
cardinal
yes.
sin of the military to not like have that problem. And when I first, and I hate telling the story, it is 100% true. But when I first started being medicated, um, one of my NCOs, this female, I was so honored to work with. She was incredible. She told me, "Why are you on that? You're so much stronger than that." Um, and maybe it wasn't her intention to say that, but that was medical advice that wasn't that wasn't the best. You get off those medications, and I've learned in nursing school, um, it could just affect somebody's life, and they begin to struggle worse with suicide. But it was one of those things where, like, what are you saying?
No, it's really rough. You know, Again, we only allow them to see what we want people to see,
Yes,
and so they think that, hey, life is great, da da da, and you're like, I'm okay, but
you
inside it's
know,
like,
yeah, I get it. Especially with what I do now as a public figure, and especially someone in pageantry, people see me and they see the hair and the makeup and the glitz, the glam, the smiles, um, and they don't realize my background, that I did serve in the military. I do have depression. I have anxiety. I'm currently going through treatment for PTSD from MST, and people don't know these things because, like you said, as leaders, sometimes you just put your own thoughts, feelings on the back burner, and you put on that facade, and everyone around you thinks, wow, they're doing amazing. But on the inside, it's like, I have my struggles too. I'm not little Miss Sunshine all the time.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why you're still here.
Oh yeah,
I'm still here. There's a purpose, and thank God
absolutely.
that you know there's been, whether it's fate, divine intervention, whatever you like, God, whatever it is that you like to call it.
Yeah.
There's a purpose that you're here, and
Yeah.
you know like I said on the show description, Phoenix Rising, you went
Yeah.
into the fire, and and you still struggle with your things, just like I
Mm-hmm.
guess we all do, but
Everyone. Yeah.
and you rose through the ashes, and then you started doing pageants. So how did that all that come about?
I've always wanted to do pageants. I'm Filipino, and that is like, in the Philippines, pageantry is a sport, man. Like, you don't do pageantry, you don't watch pageantry. Are you Filipino? But No, I've always wanted to do it as a young girl. My dad, Marine Corps, was like, no, let's go play sports. So I never had the opportunity. I got out of the military and I said, this, after everything I went through, I promised myself these dreams, these goals, aspirations that
Right.
I had that I almost let go. Shit, life is too short. You got to do them. And being a beauty queen was one of those little things I tucked away in my pocket as a kid. I always said I wanted to be Miss Universe and I wanted to be a nurse. Those are my two goals in kindergarten. And, I can't be Miss Universe, but hell, I can be Mrs. Florida America. And that has been my dream, to compete at Las Vegas at Mrs. America, my dream for 6 years. And I have busted my butt to be where I am today, do all the great things for my platform. It's been a long road, to say the least.
No, I bet. I mean,
Yeah.
again, everything has its things and challenges that you have to go through, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that what we see on TV. Oh, hey, they're walking, they're doing the things. So,
Yeah.
so tell me about blah 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 blah. I like to
Yeah.
world peace, and
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh. Yeah.
you know what I mean. It's
Yeah.
you got to study for that stuff. I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely. There's so
you
much
know,
work that goes into it.
right. So tell us a little bit about the type of work that goes into that. I mean, shed
Yeah.
some enlighten me,
I
educate
would
me.
love to. I think a lot of people think when they think pageantry, they think toddlers and tiaras. And no, no, no. It's nothing like that. So so my
That's a shout
pageant.
out to my daughter because she used to do that.
Oh
Like
yeah.
joking, yeah.
No, it's so different. As my system, I'm in the Mrs. America system, and
Oh wow.
we focus on three. It's for married women, so it's not like Miss America you watch on. I think it's Fox. But our system, we have swimsuit, we have evening gown, and we have interview. An interview is like a board. So for our service members, just like you go to your promotion board to get five, it's just like that, honestly. But the questions are a lot different. You're not studying like where's the fire hydrant supposed to be when
What's
you're
the
in the
First Amendment
vehicle.
of the
I
Constitution? God damn it.
exactly like it's not anything like that, but it's like about what are you passionate about? What is your home like? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? A lot of it has to do with this thing called a platform, and it's a cause that you raise awareness to. My platform, military mental health, veteran suicide prevention. It's never changed. It's never wavered from that. It's something I'm very passionate about. And in order to build that strong platform, it takes many years. I've started with many different nonprofits, switched around when I felt a nonprofit didn't really align with my values. And then I found pinup. That's how I found Pinups for Vets. The very first year I did pageantry, I wanted to give back. I wanted to work with Gina, who was a well-established founder. And I worked for many years with this platform to make it as strong as it is. And because of that, through pageantry, I've been given these amazing opportunities to be on Nightly News with Lester Holt. I just came back 2 days ago from Fort Benning, where I was the guest speaker for our infantry trainees, which my mind is still blown. I had that opportunity. Someone in Big
Wow.
Army said, "Hey, she's doing something." And I said, "Are you sure? You sure you want to send me?" But that whole platform, that shows the judges, that shows the pageant world how you are as a leader. And that's what's going to get you to the crown. And after 6 years, man, I hope I hope this is the year, because I've been busting my butt with just all that community service I've done.
No, and I think what resonates, and I get through just as I'm talking to you. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel the vibe, I feel the energy that you're passionate about. Yeah, the pageantry piece, that's a dream, and I think it's just something that, okay, I'm going to do this. But
Mm-hmm.
your causes that I see the excitement and the emotion behind as you're telling me about it. So I it's believable. It's not like
Oh yeah.
you can tell the difference between somebody and like, oh yeah, I do this and whatever, but you don't really buy and like, okay, maybe that's just a check in the box, maybe. But I see that, and that's great. And I think that I mean, if you're this passionate, I mean, you've been working at it. I mean, shoot, we and myself and the rest of the listeners and people who are watching the show, we really wish that this is your year too, everybody. So hey,
I hope so.
let's pump her up and I don't know, maybe hashtag Bliv or whatever
Oh yeah,
whatever
I
else.
do have a hashtag. It's my hashtag is Soldier to Beauty Queen, which is really funny. When I first started pageantry, I could not walk in heels worth a damn. And I
Me
remember the
neither.
first, I mean, my first coach was like, "Why do you walk like that?" And I was like, "I've walked in literal combat boots for the past 5 years. Like, do you think I can walk in heels? I still can't walk in heels. But the military's taught me fake it till you make it, and you just gotta do it."
So, which is your favorite? Is your favorite? I know. I'm sure you haven't heard this already, but what's your favorite movie? Is it the one with Sandra Bullock? Um,
Maybe. It's fine. I quote that movie all the time, and it's just a very pageant girl thing. In pageantry, when I go to this pageant, we have to wear all these different outfits for different occasions. And I was like, I gotta wear that iconic purple dress from Miss Congeniality when she comes out of
yeah,
like the airplane hangar and she's just got like her hair done. I love that movie. But there's so many other good movies. But yes, I do love that movie.
right, right. No, I think it's funny because maybe I don't know if it's like a military thing, but I mean, we like to, as we're talking, we'll quote a movie and then say, yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So no,
Well, it's probably
I
because
get
when
it.
we're
So
deployed, all we did was watch movies in our chew
I
if we
know
had
it's
time.
yeah, on the share drive,
Well, I don't know.
whether
I was very lucky when I was in Africa. I had the opportunity to watch movies a lot, but I feel like not
no, no,
a
no.
lot of people get that opportunity.
I mean, again, my era. I mean, it bled I retired in 2014. So
Okay.
when I first deployed in the 90s, and then with the whole joint effort on war on terrorism. I mean, later on, technology came about, and I'm here in the deployment. I'm chewing my kid's ass over Skype, video,
Yeah.
whatever. And where initially it was green phone over, I
Yes.
love you over.
Oh my
Remember
gosh,
that?
yeah. I remember getting those calls from my dad when he was deployed. They're like really quick calls, and he's like, "Hey, I'm good. Like, love you guys." I'm so glad my dad didn't have Skype at that time because I was so rowdy when he was deployed. Thank God, because he would be chewing my ass out on Skype. So thanks, Dad, for not being technologically advanced back then.
Yeah, you know, just really quick. This is how great technology is. Towards the I was in 10. I was in Japan. This is right. I was there for the earthquake tsunami, but
Oh
nonetheless,
wow, yeah.
uh, yeah. But my kid was my son at the time, teenage angst at the time. He was going in. I just told him like, hey, don't think that my arm can't reach you just because I'm talking to you Skype. Because I'll be like in Spanish, blah blah blah. He like, sí señor, yes sir, sí señor. Like you could tell, I could tell like he was mother effing me inside his head.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, you want to be like that? Boom. In 1 week, I snatched that ass and I brought him back to Japan and he stayed with me for a month.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude. And he left 2 days before the actual earthquake tsunami hit. So I
Oh
was
wow,
lucky
yeah.
because, yeah, it was crazy. But I was wearing him out, PT, all this stuff, and he loved it. He didn't want to leave, but that's just a quick story in regards to
That's so funny.
technology.
Did he end up joining
No, none of
military?
my
Oh
kids
my gosh.
ever joined the service. I mean, I didn't marine them at the house or push them that way, one way or the other. They can make their own decisions, but he
Yeah.
does safety like I do. So, but that's another story. I mean, we're talking this show is about you, girl.
Oh, no, I love talking military though. It's funny that you brought up your son PTing. My dad, when I was right before I had joined, the way he would like punish me is he'd sit at his desk and he'd be like, okay, do some sit-ups. And then he'd be like, roll over. And I would roll over and I'd knock him out. And he'd be like, roll over. And then I'd roll over and I'd do some sit-ups.
That will be IT you. It's called incentive training, but
Yes. Yeah.
I swear to God, if you talk to my kids, the one thing I used to do to them, like because they got older, and I was just like, okay, how can I get inside their head? Was
Yeah.
basically sun gods. You ever done sun gods where you stand in your arms and you make little circles?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, all right,
And then there's like
one,
the
two.
cherry pickers and yeah, I've done it all. I
And I
mean,
was like,
I'm a Marine kid. I've done it all.
yeah. So in that aspect, I mean, as they got older, yeah. I mean, but because
Yeah.
it was just like grounding, nothing else was working. I'm like, okay, we're gonna get strong. That's good training, good shit.
You know, a funny story about being a military brat is that for years and years, my dad, I would get in trouble. He'd be like, stand there, put your hands behind your back. And he'd be like, feet shoulder width apart. Never realized what it was. I get into the military and I look at my battle buddy. I look at his, it was Justin Thompson. I looked at him down in the face. I was like, my dad had me at parade and rest my whole damn life. And I had no idea. That is such a military kid thing. And now I
Yeah.
try to get my daughter to stand there like that. I'm like, hands behind your back. My husband's like,
Get your hands out of your goddamn pockets when you talk.
Oh my gosh. That's another military sin. Like,
Yeah, right.
that's so funny.
No, but I think our kids, just like you, I mean, it made an impact on you.
Oh, for
And
sure.
again, I never marine my kids and all that stuff. My kids, we would go somewhere, the national anthem would play. They got off their,
All of us, yeah.
not by, again, they would just get up, put their hand on their heart.
Mhm.
And my kids, they would correct somebody else. Hey, get your ass up. I was like, God, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
hashtag proud moment, So,
Yeah, I was very marined as a child. But I mean, I had my rebellious phase where like I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. But as an adult, like being marined as a kid and growing up in that's made me the person I am. I've learned very quickly. I'm very much like my dad when it comes to the way I speak to people and being able to have a conversation and being polite, minding my P's and Q's. And for that, I'm so grateful for the way my dad raised me, even though it was very strict. I see a lot of just that leadership that my dad instilled in me from a very young age. I see that today, especially when I went to Benning. I'm not sure if you've seen it. There's this photo that the LT took of me while I was speaking to the group of trainees. A almost exact
well, let's see.
replica.
Is that some of the photos that you sent me?
No, I didn't send it to you. It's actually on my
Oh,
personal
okay.
Facebook. Let me see if I can take 2 seconds to pull it up. I saw it and my dad sent me the picture and he was like, this is crazy. So this is me at Fort Benning just the other day, me, really tiny, talking to all these people. And then
Right.
about
Okay. I
the
see them
same
in the
age,
bleachers and stuff.
there's my dad. And then talking to all of his soldiers. And I was like, that is so crazy. And nothing makes me more proud than doing stuff that my dad does. Don't tell him I said that. Don't tell him I really like him that much. But it was just one of those moments I was like, damn, I got all the good stuff that my dad gave me. Like, I got all the best parts of my dad. So it was just one of those
That's
moments. I'm
great.
like, thanks, Marine Corps.
Well, what do we do is let's talk about some of these photos that we sent
Yeah,
over to the
let's do that.
studio.
Mhm.
Since we're you guys showing us some really cool photos
Yeah.
of you and your dad. So this is when you did the shoot. This
Yeah.
the 7 of spades.
Yeah, that was inspired by, I'm from Hawaii. I'm originally from Kailua.
Oh wow, and you even said it
Yeah.
right. Oh,
I hope so. But so I grew up and I have always loved World War II nurses. And
okay.
just that era, it really inspired me to become a medic. But just the pinup, the Aloha pinup has always been just like the most gorgeous thing in my life. I used to buy, what is it, Sailor Jerry whiskey or rum or whatever it was. Not because I liked it, because the pinups were
Right.
gorgeous. And my favorite one was the Aloha one. So when I heard I was going to work with Doug, I was like, you know what? Let's make this reality. So we worked on this, and that's actually, I got the swimsuit top and he brought me everything else and was like, let's knock it out. So,
and what about
was
this
pretty
next
cool.
one after that you had over there?
That is my headshot from the Pinups for Vets calendar. So Pinups for Vets, I'm sure you've heard of them, but for the viewers that haven't heard of Pinups for Vets, fantastic nonprofit organization founded by Gina Elise. And I think this is going on the 16th year. I may be wrong, but she raises money to fund VA equipment at the VA hospitals and programs. She's just an angel. We don't have enough of that at the VA hospital, trust me. But this was the headshot from it. Hundreds of women applied to be a part of this calendar. I was 1 in 12, and this was my headshot.
Well, good for you. What about this
Thank
next one
you.
right over here?
That's Gina. She is just
Oh, so that is Gina. Okay.
She is the queen. She is so incredible, the kindest woman I have ever met. She's just a doll, and she looks like that in real life. Like, it's crazy. She's a walking pinup. It's insane.
That's great. And this last one right over here.
That is just, it's cropped, but that is my actual calendar photo. I am Miss April. So if you have the calendar, you turn it tomorrow, there's me. And that's the actual photo. It's so cool. I love it. And behind me is like an orange grove. So it's really cool to have that little piece of Florida back there. But that was shot in California, and my legs were sunburnt after that. So fun fact. It was hot.
That's great. No, and it's great that you support Pinot for Vets. I
Oh,
was
absolutely.
made aware of them last year as I was getting ready to kick off this show, and Doug was telling me
Hmm.
about it, and he had shared some of the photos. I was like, wow. I'm like, this is
Such a phenomenal
really,
nonprofit.
yeah, and just the way he's done these photos. I mean, can't talk enough about Doug. I mean, and the dude is
Doug is
a
great.
magician and an artist with that. Yeah,
That's what I
that camera.
say. I say he's a magician. He doesn't believe me. He's really good at what he does. It's
Right.
insane. He puts everything in there by hand, the birds on the card, the surfboard, the shell in the sand. I don't know how he does it. I can't even
Yeah.
draw a person on a piece of paper, and he does stuff like that.
No, the dude has got a talent, and
Oh, for sure.
among other things, and obviously, he's a fellow devil dog and all that
Yeah,
stuff. But he's just a genuine good person. But Bliv, tell me some about some of the causes that you support and stuff. Let's go ahead and pump them up. Let's get them out there so we
sure.
generate some traffic to them.
So obviously, my favorite nonprofit right now is Pinups for Vets. I'm so proud of all the work Gina has done, and as ambassadors, we have done to support her and her mission. Um, Teamwork, it's selfless. It takes all of us together. And she has recently donated something to the Tampa VA hospital for physical therapy, and it's really cool because I go to the Tampa VA and it's like, hey, this is here because of my friend, and like all of our work combined, it's incredible. Um, I love, let's see, Vets for Warriors. Have you heard about them?
I think so. Yeah, I think
So
so.
really cool. It's pretty new to me. I learned about them after my pinup shoot in June. They are a nonprofit. It's a crisis line for veterans. You don't have to just call. You can text, you can email, and you can chat online. Um, the best part about it is behind that phone is a brother or sister in arms. They know what you've gone through. They have like experiences. Um, for me as a veteran, every time I speak to somebody in therapy, if my therapist is a civilian, in the back of my mind, I always think to myself, how do you know though? Because you haven't experienced this. Or I speak to a civilian and
Or they're
it's
reading
just,
some a script out
yeah.
of a book or
And it's
whatever.
like, but you don't understand. But here at Vets for Warriors, they do understand. And I love that. And I love that there's different forms of communication. I hate talking on the phone. I will never talk
Right.
on the phone unless it's like you calling me and I'm like, I got to answer it. But I would rather send a text, or some people would rather send an email. Um, so that's a really cool nonprofit. Let's see, Mission 22. Huge fan of them for years. I have been ambassador for them for many, many years. I was a state leader at a point in time when I lived in Nebraska. Really cool nonprofit organization that helps you receive. Let's see, they have like vitamins and supplements that will help you maintain all your general health. You take care of your body, you take care of your mind, and that's really cool. You're able to receive those for free from Mission 22, no questions asked. They just have to verify your service. So those are my top 3 nonprofits that I have worked with or I'm very, very fond of.
That's great. Well,
Yeah,
we're getting close to that time. Bliv,
we
first
are.
of all, I wanna thank you. First, thank you so much for your service to this great nation of
You
ours.
too.
I think, and also thank you for the great work that you keep doing post service. Spreading the word, and shedding light on a subject that, for many years, like we just talked about on the show, is just, it's
Yeah.
always been this hush
Hush,
hush
hush.
type of thing.
Yeah.
And then, but yet we hear is that, hey, so and so committed suicide the other day,
Yeah.
or we're seeing on the TV, or somebody, just lashed out, or in a negative way, that because they're quicker to point out, hey, another veteran from the army, another marine, they're quick to
Hmm.
point that stuff out, but you're out there, promoting this stuff, shedding light on the subject, and
Oh, yeah.
raising awareness, as well as providing equipment through your different organizations. And I just want to thank you from the
Thank
bottom of my
you.
heart. And but can we go ahead and bring you back, so you could give us an update where you at?
Oh my gosh.
Hopefully,
Absolutely.
and when is the pageant?
The
When
pageant.
when is
Yeah.
that coming up?
May 21st is my first day of the pageant. Um, I know. Oh my gosh. I get goosebumps thinking about it, y'all. I have busted my butt this
Well,
year. I
hopefully,
feel so strong.
we'll hopefully we'll bring you back, and by that time,
Yeah, I have a new shiny crown.
yeah, you won the Super Bowl, right?
I know. This is what it's going to feel like. And guess what? I can go to Disney World because I'm here.
What are you gonna do next? That's great.
Going to Disney World.
Well, thanks so much for stopping by. It was an honor talking
Absolutely.
to
Thank
you,
you
and
so much, Pacho.
we'll definitely bring you back to the
Yeah,
show.
I would
Thanks so
love
much,
to.
Bliv.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Well, everybody, hey, this was a really great talk. What a great individual! Just so lively, so full of energy. You know, if and I think her story can resonate, just about, it resonates with me. It can resonate with anybody else. I mean, even though we still struggle with our issues, I mean, there is another side, and there is a better side. On the other side of that rainbow, as the song would say. But before we punch out, I want to thank Doug once again for hooking me up with the cards. I want to thank Bliv for what she does, and all the other organizations that she supports. And if you're one of those individuals who's currently struggling with PTSD, anxiety, depression, and you're having thoughts about committing suicide, hurting yourself, hey, you're not alone. You matter. We want you to be here. We want you to stick around. Okay, so reach out to me. Reach out to Military One Source, the VA. I mean, there's just many of them, and I'm gonna go ahead and get that number from Bliv, and post it after on the after the show. Once it gets posted on Facebook, I'll definitely go ahead and put the number out there so you can reach out, because we all talk. We have different means of communications, but other than that, I mean, I thought it was a great show, a lot of good stuff, and I think this is a good point to go ahead and index our show right over here. But with that being said, folks, hey, thanks so much for your time. Hoorah, get some. I am out of here, everybody.